Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to adjust the slides and install 6-inch recessed can lightings into new construction. By adjusting the slide, I mean these slides here. This is right there is their minimum width as they come standard. And as you can see up here, I've had to adjust these. My floor joists are, or rafters if you're working on a main floor upstairs, are for closer together than the minimum standard for these things. So first thing I'm going to do is come over here to my working table, get my gloves on because these slides can be a little bit sharp. I don't know how the rest of them are. I haven't worked with a whole lot of these things, but these ones, you cannot just pull them straight out. You can pull them out, but then there's a stop. So the first thing you want to do is, there's this little tab right here that stops it from wanting to come out. So if you push this all the way in, it kind of opens up a hole there where you can just pop that tab out a little tiny bit, and then do the other side, pop that tab out just a little bit, and that will allow these guys to just slide right out there. So if you're not very comfortable with like what direction these go, leave one of these in and pop the other one out. I like to start with this one. Ideally, you want to leave both of these as long as you can, just so that the middle of the light has more support. So these are lineman pliers, and they have a cutter right here, and you're going to want to face your cutting edge toward the piece that you want to keep. If you face it this way, it's going to cut on that side, and it's going to bend the crap out of this slide, which is going to get a little bit bent anyways, but there's no reason to do more than is necessary. So I'm going right here and give that a good squeeze. As you can see, it kind of scored it through there. It's not real important that it's straight. And then you're going to want to get just a little, very close to where you cut, and just start wiggling it back and forth very lightly. And then more as you go, and eventually that'll snap off of there. As you can see here, I hope you can see, this rail gets a little bit bent on top and bottom, and that won't allow this to slide in properly. So you want to take your pliers, turn them sideways, and you'll just clamp right down on the end there, and that'll straighten that puppy out. You can even bend it up just a little tiny bit if you want, but not too much, otherwise it won't be able to slide through these brackets here. And bend the bottom slide down, and slide this back in so that it's, facing the same direction as this one here. So you're going to slide that in, make sure it slides in properly, slide the other one out, and I mean, you can mark them to begin with. I know where I need to cut after doing some of these on this house, so I'm just going to score it there. Same thing on this side of your pliers, because you want to keep this side, and you're just going to go right beside it, wiggle her back and forth a few times. And sometimes these come out pretty well, sometimes these things get bent up pretty good. This one's pretty good, so it should just go right in there. Yep, so you slide her right back in, and that's what you need right there. Flip her around and do the other side. Remember, cut her on this side. Go right down there. Bend it down. Looks pretty good. Slide it in. Do this one. And again, it's better to keep these things as long as you can. I'm cutting them. I've got a few extra inches to work with here. The drywall will hold it up to some extent, but I don't know. It's just easier for me to work with if it's not real tight in there. So slip this back in. There we go. Flip her over. Now you want to have a hammer with you as you do this, and ideally a little drill or a screwdriver. Screwdriver would kind of suck. I would suggest a drill. So I'm not going to get into like the layout of all of this, but figure out a system to where your stuff fits in here so that it's not, I mean, obviously you're not going to fit up in there. So if you wanted to go here, you'd have to slide it over this way, and these do slide on these tracks. But for now, I'm centered on that, and I'm tight against this joist here. So what I like to do is just slide it all the way over. It works out better if it's tight, because then, as you see, I can hold it right against the 2x. I guess you could do that anyway, but if your tracks, if you don't install them perfectly straight, it's kind of hard to slide this thing back and forth. So I like to go right against it if I can. You don't want to try and put your nail in so it's angled down, because it'll pop out there. So if anything, you want to get this up flush and angle your nail up a little and pound that puppy in. Oh, hang on. I was too busy talking and didn't get centered here. So we got a little notch here for center, so I'm going to center myself right on my mark there. Pound that in. This side pounded in. And then I like to slide it to where it needs to be before you put the other side in. That way, like I said, your track, you know, can bend in and out pretty easily. These things are really flimsy. So I'm pushing it all the way over to where it needs to be, or, you know, sliding it over here to where it needs to be. But this one needs to be all the way over there. I'm just going to push this side out. Nail it. Those little flaps get in the way a little bit, so sometimes I pound them back up. Pound that in. There you go. And the last thing you'll do is get it, sometimes they're sagging down pretty good, get it up nice and good, and zip these little screws in here, and that'll hold it from sliding back and forth or up and down. Zip screw in. That's all there is to it. You get in a pretty good rhythm doing this. That took me a while because I was explaining it, but you do get quite a bit faster at it as you do them. When I started doing them on this particular house, it was taking me, I don't know, 10 minutes to fabricate these things because they weren't scored. Not all of them have scores where they easily break. So, but if you get in a rhythm, it'll only take you, I don't know, a minute and a half to fabricate these slides, then another couple minutes, 3 minutes to put these things up. So when I was looking for videos on this, because I'm somewhat of a beginner, I did not see very many things that were relevant. I didn't see anything about fabricating these, but I found my little way to do it. As you can see, I definitely could have cut that a couple inches longer there, which means, and I definitely could have cut this one a couple inches longer, and it would have been better, but it's not a big deal either way. When you install these, just a little tip, you want to make sure that this is where your wiring goes in, so you don't want to like butt it up against something like this, because then you're going to have a hard time getting your wiring in, and you can flip these around if you need to. I guess that'll be it for this instructional. I don't care about making my videos super long. I don't really care about making money off these. I just thought that I would try and help some people out. Oh, looks like I need to adjust this a little. Didn't quite get this side. As you can see, this side is quite tight, so not really a huge deal, but I'm a little bit anal about these things, so I'm just gonna zip that back off. Make sure that's pushed over. There we go. All right, well, you guys are ready to do your own new construction can lighting.